daytime. You can call me Buster, and welcome back to Penny Ruin Standard, where we try to ruin the standard rankings by causing rain and fog of war to happen, and it's glorious. Today, we are playing on a map called Tactical Bombing. This is another one that's a little bit of an older replay. You can see I'm still playing as green. And today, we're fighting against Nanao. And, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to think about it, it is a Penny mirror match today. That's right, we're both Penny, so the only thing that we can possibly change is whether or not this game is Fog of War. Yeah, think about it. Both of us are immune to weather effects, so if we roll snow, nothing changes. If we roll sandstorm, nothing changes. If we roll rain, we turn on Fog of War. That's right. So, however you want to think about it, is that fortunate or unfortunate? For me, I think it's fortunate. I kinda like the Penny Mirror. It makes it twice as likely that you're gonna roll rain and turn on the Fog of War. That's just how I see it. Anyway, I don't think I've played this map on the series yet. This is a 3 base and 2 airport map. It's called Tactical Bombing for a reason. It is meant to be played with air units, with all of these mountains and rivers in the center, as well as these tiles that are locked inside of mountains, and all of these temporary airports that are scattered around. It is absolutely meant to be played with air units. A lot of players like to play Tasha or Waylon on this map, especially Waylon. He's pretty good. But today, we're not going to have any of that. Oh no. We're going to be playing as Penny versus Penny. So, let's get started. Let's see if we cause any chaos here. I certainly hope we do. Now, it does start you with 4,000 income, so you can build 1 bike and 1 infantry. And the first thing you will want to do is go for the factory. That's what I do. My opponent goes for the airport first, and I decide to go for some of the more forward cities with my bike. And I figure I can capture this city down here and then chain into the airport later. And my opponent does a little bit of the same, going to here, and then you can chain into there with your infantry. So this is one of those maps where the capture phase is not super... what's the word I'm looking for? It's not solved, right? You can go a couple of different ways with it. And me and my opponent were both going with a couple of different openers here. I try to do everything in my power to make my opening captures efficient in terms of unit movement. So having infantry perfectly end their turn right on the city that I want to capture. For example, this infantry can go 1, 2, 3, and then next turn 1, 2, 3 to capture that. I'm probably not going to go for this temporary airport. If I do, I blame that on past me being silly. And being a silly goose, as Euthermal would say. I don't know how many of you are Euthermal fans. Anyway, here we go. It's still the early capture phase. I'm going to go through these airports fairly early. One thing you need to note, if you're relatively new to the game, while it's important to go for neutral factories early, it's not as important to go for neutral airports early. The reason you want to go for factories is because things like bikes, infantry, they're really low cost. So usually by the time you capture the factory, you'll be able to build one of those low-cost units there without base skipping. And of course infantry are very important. They're the lifeblood of your army. You need them to capture things and everything. But airports, the cheapest thing you get is a T-copter, which is kind of situational, and the first useful unit is the battlecopter, which already costs 9,000, which is more than a tank. So you don't need to go for your airports too early. Obviously, do make sure you capture them. They are still worth money. And you want to make sure you have access to battlecopters when you need to build them, but that's just a free tip for you. Anyway, my opponent loads Penny into this tank right here. We're both capturing the center. We're both starting to come up against each other on this part of the map. I did build an early recon to try and harass some of these capturing units. And meanwhile, I'm sending Penny into the center right here, because if this thing comes down to shoot this, then Penny can go and farm energy elsewhere. As I said in the last episode, that is a strategy I like to go for to make sure that Penny is not too harassed when she's trying to gather energy for that oh-so-important CO power. And as I expected, the enemy CO tank does indeed go here, but it can also cross over this bridge and come into the center. So I need to be a little bit careful. I do chain a second tank into my CO. I build a mech over here just in case it stays over there. I'm hoping that I can build a wall and zone out the tank with the mech a little bit, just in case. And also I put it onto my HQ, my CO tank, and it is in range of the enemy CO tank, but I have a blocker right here. Meanwhile, we are fighting over here. I have a much bigger force, and the enemy has an artillery that is currently out of position, but now it is covering some of the enemy infantry. But by doing this, it kind of relents these two cities to me. I should be able to capture both of these. We'll see if I get it right, though. Enemy building a battlecopter right here, as well as a tank, and being smart about it, not base skipping. Meanwhile, I'm going to try to stop some of these captures. I'm currently one city behind. You have to keep in mind these temporary airports don't give any income, but they do count towards the property goal. So you can see I have 21 but making 20,000. He has 20 but making 19,000. I'm one city ahead. He is going to capture this city and this city. Meanwhile, I'm going to capture this one, but I think that's about it. So he's about to even things up. I also build a battlecopter and an anti-air, seeing that this battlecopter is coming in. The enemy is in control of the eastern front currently, while I'm kind of more or less in control of the western flank. And the battle is going to now shift a bit more into the center, with this battlecopter coming in and everything. So let's see what happens. I'm going to send my anti-air up, send my battlecopter just out of range, create a body blocking situation with these. I probably could have sent this further up, but I think I wanted to make sure it was in range of all of these tanks right here. Because if I don't send something over here to deal with those, this flank is just going to be lost. So I do that. I try to get a little bit of a surround on the battlecopter to stop its movement a little bit. I capture that city, but I am going to be... well, let's see. My opponent... oh, right. This city that he captured is actually a temporary airport, so it doesn't really count. So in terms of income, we're the same currently. He is capturing this, though. Not quite able to get it. Let's see if I'll be able to stop that. I'm also capturing my opponent's temporary airport here. It kind of doesn't matter, though. Might come into play, might not. My opponent building a Duster. CCs. I do build the second battlecopter here. I have two of them now. And he also built a second battlecopter. And while he does build an anti-air, he also decided to build a Duster. That's not a very bad buy at all. It can also fire on my foot soldiers, like so. It does have to run away from anti-air, that's absolutely for sure. So I believe it would be prudent for me to build a second anti-air, and let's watch on and see if we do. I decided to capture that for some reason, even though I had a tank in range that I could have shot with the mech. Maybe I should have done that instead, but whatever. I do interrupt this cap right as it was at 1 capture point, and I do get this city. So now I am officially ahead by 1k. And over time, if I'm allowed to keep that 1k income lead, it will slowly but surely give me a small advantage. If I can raise that lead even further, then the time it'll take for me to snowball will be less and less. Now, I should have seen this coming. If I can take out this row... Oh! Hang on! Hang on! I'm always falling behind when I'm commentating these matches. If I can take out these 2 units, I don't know if I can, but if I can, then I'll be able to get to this battlecopter. Maybe if that kills this, and then this shoots that, and then I'd have to have this fire on that. I don't know if I can do it, but I think I just kind of let my battlecopter get shot for free. But the first penny power comes in, ladies and gentlemen, and unfortunately, it is not rain. But it was not my power, and remember everybody, luck is a skill. So we'll see how good my luck is, because I'm going to go for my power as well. But this is going to be a somewhat inconsequential power. Of course, my enemy is going to get the... I'm just going to start saying the now. That's who I'm playing as. The now is going to get the global 10-10 boost from having used the CO power. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, extra 10 defense. Starting to attack my area over here, and I'm afraid of this arty right here. Oh, and luckily, I am able to get a shot off on the battlecopter. Not quite able to kill the enemy CO tank, but it's kind of not that big a deal, since it's a penny mirror. I kind of want the powers to go off, roll for rain as much as possible, and... shucks. Luck is a skill, but I had a little bit of a skill issue today. And we got Sandstorm a second time. So that's pretty unfortunate. I just refreshed the sand for another 3 turns. Let's see if we can't... Oh. That is quite unfortunate. That's something... Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Now, that's a pretty anticlimactic way for the game to end. He ran out of time. Now, let's look at how this could have gone. I was at 32 units, 102k in terms of army value. He was at 26 units, 75k in terms of army value. And he was behind only by 1 property. I have 26 to 22, but that's only because I bothered to capture all these temporary airports. Obviously, they kind of don't matter. Like, for example, if this Duster really needed to heal, it could retreat over here. If this wanted to heal, I could take it over here and shoot this battlecopter from there. But looking at what happened here, yeah, my opponent didn't make any moves and unfortunately ran out of time. But I thought this game was interesting nonetheless, as, first of all, not only the first penny mirror, but also the fact that we rolled Sandstorm one after the other. Pretty unfortunate, you know, in terms of the chaos that we're trying to sow on the ranked ladder. But yeah, that's it. That's how this game ended. It's a bit unfortunate, but I'm going to be recording another one of these right away, so you guys are going to see another one of these pretty soon. With that being said, thank you guys ever so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like if you did enjoy this video. If you made it this far, you probably did, right? Or maybe you just left it on in the background. Either way. And don't forget to subscribe before you go. But until next time, goodbye everyone. It's nighttime.